Hi everyone, and welcome to week 3. Our competencies this week are to differentiate between the law and ethics in providing quality care to consumers, explain the potential conflict between providing quality care and the application of ethical principles, and identify 2 tools or systems to assist in measuring ethical quality of health care. Our discussion this week involves the impact a law has on delivering health care to consumers. Some examples of some laws that affect health care, and you can talk about any of these in your discussion or ones that aren't here. The Affordable Care Act. The Affordable Care Act has several different parts to it, and each part can affect different people different ways. The Human Subjects Research Protection Act, the High-Tech Act, which has to do with privacy, CMS regulations. A lot of our CMS regulations tell physicians in their practice and hospitals what they need to tell these people how to deliver quality health care and challenge these places to do it. Certain fraud and abuse laws, and the HIPAA privacy rule. So one law that I wanted to talk about is the Human Research Subjects Act. So it's pretty, the law is written now, and it is written in such a way that human subjects are protected. Before we had such a law, or before we had such a stringent law, there were people who were actually injured because of lack of this law. So there's a book called The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks that was written by Rebecca Skloot. I think it came out maybe about 4 or 5 years ago. And it's now being made into a movie with Oprah Winfrey playing one of the lead parts. But back in the 50s, there was a woman who was suffering from cancer. I believe it was cervical cancer. Some of the scientists that were working on her case took some of her cells, and these cells actually still live on, and they're known as HeLa. So they took some of these cells without her knowledge, and these cells became one of the most important tools in medicine today, actually. They've used her cells in developing a polio vaccine. They've used them in cloning studies, in gene mapping. They've used them in vitro fertilization studies. So her cells have been bought and sold by the billions from one scientist to another. Yet she remained virtually unknown until this book and now this movie. And until the book came out, her family was still poor and couldn't even afford health insurance. Then there was the Tuskegee syphilis experiment. Some of you probably have read about this before, either in prior history courses or prior healthcare courses or science courses, but this was an infamous study that was conducted back between 1932 and 1972 by the United States Public Health Service, and they wanted to study the natural progression of untreated syphilis in rural African American men in Alabama. So first and foremost, these folks had untreated syphilis. The U.S. Public Health Service knew this, and they didn't treat them any further. For 40 years, between 32 and 72, they conducted this experiment on 399 black men. These men had the late stages of syphilis, but there was still opportunity for treatment. For the most part, they were illiterate sharecroppers from one of the poorest counties in Alabama. They were never told what disease they were suffering from. They were never told how serious it was. They were told only that they were being treated for bad blood, but their doctors really had no intention of curing them of this syphilis at all. The data for the experiment was to be collected after they died. So they were left to degenerate and get all of the side effects that tertiary syphilis can entail, which would be tumors, heart disease, paralysis, blindness, insanity. As one of the doctors said, we really have no further interest in these patients until they die. Our assignment for this week is to research 2 tools or systems used to gather data to measure quality in healthcare. In our assigned readings, there is a chapter 44 that contains a lot of information on a lot of different kinds of tools that are used in actually all businesses, not just healthcare, like the Plan, Do, Study, Act, doing a root cause analysis, TQM or CQI, which you're probably familiar with if you've taken the healthcare quality course yet, and Six Sigma. So again, you can use any of these for your assignment or any others that you find in research. So I will see you online, and I will leave you to think about the importance of some of these healthcare laws, like the Human Subject Research Act, and how important it is that these kind of laws have changed over the years.